leaving the EU without a deal will cause a constitutional disturbance, Labour has warned. The shadow Brexit Secretary Keir Starmer said this morning that no deal is a very, very bad outcome. He was speaking as Prime Minister Theresa May was meeting business leaders from across Europe to try and reassure them about the future of UK-EU trade post-Brexit. CBI Director General Caroline Fairbairn said the government needed to clarify what the terms of trade would be with the EU as firms are starting to trigger contingency plans for withdrawal. Sir Keir said that of a no-deal scenario, taken literally, it means we have not agreed anything, and that means we haven't agreed anything about EU citizens, we haven't agreed anything about the border in Northern Ireland, we haven't agreed anything on security. Speaking on the BBC Radio 4's Today programme, he said, "I think that sort of no deal is unthinkable. In those circumstances I think the government would have to seriously consider whether it could continue. There will be a real crisis of confidence. A constitutional, sort of, disturbance. And probably all sorts of emergency legislation. And that's why we shouldn't casualize no deal." This week the battle over Brexit returns to the Commons as the landmark EU withdrawal bill goes into committee stage. Sir Keir said he hoped for support from Tory rebels for a Labour amendment allowing the European Court of Justice, ECJ, to maintain its role during a transition period. Sir Keir said a future relationship with the ECJ after transition would be a matter for negotiation. At the gathering of business leaders, Mrs May will attempt to win support from European businesses for her goal of moving the negotiations onto trade talks. Ms Fairbairn told Today, "This is an important meeting because the urgency that is shared by businesses across Europe is growing by the day. The big message today is around mutual interest." She said 10% of firms had enacted their contingency plans to deal with Brexit and another 25% would do so by the end of the year. Brexit Secretary David Davis and Business Secretary Greg Clark will also attend the Downing Street event. Michel Barnier has insisted the UK has to be much clearer on issues such as citizens' rights, the Irish border and the UK's financial settlement before trade talks can open. The meeting comes as cabinet tensions on Brexit continued to play out after a letter from Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson and Environment Secretary Michael Gove giving Mrs May apparent instructions on how to organise withdrawal emerged. Transition arrangements for Britain's exit from the European Union must end on June 30, 2021, the cabinet ministers demanded, according to reports. Liberal Democrat leader Vince Cable said, "Most businesses are nervous about the government's pursuit of a hard Brexit. Any transitional deal needs to maintain the status quo so as to provide the certainty that business needs. The Prime Minister must push for a deal that keeps us within the customs union and single market. Even then it is difficult to see how this could be any better than our current circumstances, which is why the British people should be given a vote on any deal."